Welcome back. Extraordinary developments in the case of Prince Harry. He's taken legal action against News UK, which is this company, the company that runs Talk amongst other journalistic outlets, including, of course, The Sun, The Times, Sunday Times. Now, The Sun, Harry is attempting to sue them for alleged phone hacking, something that The Sun strenuously denies. In the process of this, the Sun newspaper, or their lawyers, have requested a raft of documents and messages that Harry, among others, that messages he sent to the ghostwriter of his book Spare, a guy called J.R. Moehringer. Now, according to the Sun's lawyers, Prince Harry has deliberately destroyed potential evidence in this phone hacking claim. Prince Harry strenuously denies this, but his lawyers have said in court that some messages were wiped because they were of a very intimate, private nature to do with the royal family. Now, the judge in the case, Mr. Justice Fancourt, has made it pretty clear he's not very happy about this, to say the least. He said he's very troubled by it, and he's as Harry's lawyers came forward and said, no, you have to understand. He said, no, I don't want a lawyer's explanation now. I want a written explanation from Prince Harry about what has happened here. Yeah. To be fair, Mr. Justice Fancourt knocked back the Sun's lawyer's assertion that he had deliberately, definitely, this was the explanation. Mm-hmm. The judge is saying, well, we don't know that, but I do require, he said, I'm very troubled by this and I require a full explanation from Prince Harry, and I want it in writing. Now, we're not going to go into the veracity of each side's case because that is a legal process that's going on now, and we have to respect that and let that progress independently. But I do think it's interesting. So we've got in the studio Barrister Andrew Eborn. Welcome, Andrew.
Lovely to see you again.
Tell us about the importance of evidence. Now, yes. What's happened here is the Sun have requested a series of documents that they think are very relevant to the case, to their defence, that will prove they maintain that they never hacked Harry's phone. He is, by the way, one of, I think it's 40 celebrities who are suing News Group. And I think other newspapers as well. So they've requested these documents. Yes. Now, the judge has obviously said, well, that's a reasonable request. And then suddenly they're not there. Apparently, they've received a very thin file of documents. Yes. And they're not happy, obviously, and the judge is not happy. So tell us about this process of how it unfolds. Yeah. You know, how would the Sun establish that these documents are important, and how would they get the judge's agreement?
Very good. What I love about your show is we always shine a lot of light and less heat on the subject matter, and a lot of the press have misreported what this is. And I'll tell you what it's about. It's about the Limitation Act. The Limitation Act basically says that you've got 6 years from when you have a wrongdoing happening to make a claim. And what basically happens is the exception to that is if you discover a little bit later, or it's to become apparent a little bit later, then you get an extended period. What happens here is that if basically Harry knew about the alleged activities, and it is alleged, if he knew about them before the 6-year period, or within that 6-year period, basically it's a complete defence to anybody. There's any accusation, it instantly fails. So what's alleged is that the relevant bits which are now missing could have happened within that period, where he might have indicated that he knew about potential phone hacking. And this was about emails or messages basically between him and the ghostwriter of Spare. So that's why it's important to do, and this is why the media is slightly misrepresenting it. What happens in a defamation case and various other cases, this is to do with phone hacking and potential phone hacking, what happens is there are all sorts of stages about procedure. So the first thing is, can you get rid of the case altogether if it's what's called out of time? So you have to basically bring a case effectively within 6 years of when the wrongdoing or alleged wrongdoing might have happened, or 6 years of discovering it. basically this goes to that 6 years of discovery and the relevant information there.
Right, this is what the judge told the court. He said, "I have seen troubling evidence. A large number of potentially relevant documents and messages between the Duke and the ghostwriter were destroyed well after this claim was underway. The position is not transparently clear and needs to be made so by way of a witness statement from the claimant himself." As I say, I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on Harry or the Sun newspaper here. I'm trying to walk a very balanced line here, but I just feel that I mean, I've been around a few court cases. That is a fairly dramatic statement.
It is a dramatic statement, and we've had this before. You know what happened in the Vardy case. You remember about the wonderful thing about Rooney versus Vardy and what happened there.
How can we forget?
How can you forget that? And the WhatsApp messages and the glorious thing about the phone at the bottom of the sea. It ended up in Davy's locker, and that glorious quote from Vardy about, "I don't know, Davy." They work on that sort of basis. So all those
Davy's what?
Davy's what? And you've got Boris who's losing his WhatsApp messages. The reality is, and I know this, every time you change your phone, it's a bit of a hassle to get your WhatsApp messages back and everything else. But the key is this. Because he may be out of time for bringing the case, what he has to establish is that he didn't discover it until a particular moment. What this may happen, and this is why it's an if, because we've lost the evidence, if there is evidence that basically he knew within that period, then he's out of time. So the rights and wrongs of the case don't even go any further forward.
I mean, what the judge is, as I say, this is strong language from the judge.
Yes.
What he's saying is he's far from happy with what's going on here, isn't he?
Well, the reason he's far from happy is because these messages were apparently deleted after the action had been brought. Now, if you're trying to turn around and say, hang on, I didn't know about it until this moment, what you're trying to do is keep all of that evidence around that particular time. If evidence is destroyed of that relevant period, then it does beg all sorts of questions.
Absolutely. Well, Harry's barrister, David Sherborne, he told the court that the chat that was wiped was to delete highly sensitive information.
Of course.
Well, that might not be the whole point?
Well, it's totally the whole point. The question is
might the Sun not want to see the highly sensitive? That's the whole point.
And the whole point, and this is what they have to establish effectively, what he has to establish is that he didn't know before a particular moment. Now, these, I mean, it's supposition, obviously. These messages may have given an indication that he knew about potential alleged hacking and so on and so forth before the relevant date. And if that's the case, then it's instantly dismissed because he's out of time. And that's why it's so important. And that's not clear in the rest of the media reports other than on your show.
So just explain that out of time thing again, because we don't have a sort of statute of limitations here, do we?
Well, we do. We do have a statute of limitation. You have 6... I thank you.
Get all the wrong information on this show.
No. Your other answer was right. Subject to your being wrong. It's going to be right. So what happens is you have a particular period of time when you have to bring certain cases. And that period of time for this particular case is 6 years.
Okay.
6 years from when the relevant wrongdoing is supposed to have happened.
Right.
There's an exception to that, is that if you didn't discover it until later...
And that's the basis of Harry's case.
That's what's happened. If you didn't discover it until later, it's from the moment of revelation. Okay.
So the implication here, and again, we're not saying this categorically, but the implication here is Harry's case, as you said, is based on not discovering this for some years after the actually alleged event. Now, but then after that point, it is alleged that he then deliberately destroyed potential evidence.
Yes, I just have a click for the word alleged so many times in the thing. Well, but you're right.
I'm being careful.
No, you've been very careful. But the reason is we don't even go into the rights and wrongs of the case because if it's out of time, it's instantly dismissed by the courts, and that's why it's so important. And so what happened? Harry has to basically say, look, I didn't know about this until this particular date, and that's why I suddenly raised the case. If the evidence which might suggest otherwise has been destroyed, it raises all sorts of questions, and it's those questions that need to be answered.
Well, that's really interesting, Andrew, and I think we better drop talking about this at the moment because I think we've dissected that pretty thoroughly. Let me ask you, I don't know, a cheeky question.
Oh, I like cheeky questions. Go for it.
Have you ever come across anyone more litigious than Prince Harry?
Oh, extraordinary, isn't it? He keeps us all happy, doesn't it? There are lots of people. Disney are very litigious. I mean, there are lots of people litigious, and as I say, I've never lost a case, so it's got to be good. Delighted to welcome all of them. But it always used to be with the royal family. Never complained, never explained. You never had any.
Bucked that trend,
oh, my goodness, he's making up for lost time, isn't he? I used to love it. So Princess Anne appeared in court. You talk about people appearing in court. Princess Anne appeared in court because that dog went wild at somebody at one moment.
Right. She got nicked for it.
Yeah, she did. I was in court with Prince Harry when he went to court, so I sat through the evidence that he gave on a different newspaper group, and I listened to his evidence and so on and so on. I saw him during this sort of moment, so it's very interesting. All the people, massive mob outside. There was only a handful of us in court, but no, he does more litigious stuff than anybody.
Certainly any royal in history.
Yeah.
Listen, stick around because Pete's been waiting here patiently, and you can help discuss some of the stories we've been talking about. First of all, Pete, let's go back to, what is it now, an hour ago. What you know the details of the Farage or the Reform UK story, Channel 4 News. The question on the table, and we've got lots of phone calls about it, is that a dodgy... in your view, are Reform right to suggest that this is a dodgy story and they've been stitched up? And as I contended, I do think Channel 4 have got some more questions to answer, to say the least.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, that Channel 4 News definitely have some questions to answer, without a shadow of a doubt. My problem is how quickly Reform have been to jump on this and ignore the other two instances. I noticed when you were talking to Isabel Oakshott earlier that she was talking about the homophobic comment. My issue is the word degenerate that was used. And she's kept saying that, oh, it's just people in a pub. People like that don't use the word degenerate very often, and that one kind of stuck in the craw a little bit.
I absolutely agree with you. It was awkward, hashtag Orcs to say the least. And to be fair to Farage, he's not making any excuses. There are two of them.
Well,
he's saying they were drunk and they've been watching the football.
And to be fair though, I did watch an interview that Farage gave, and he was talking about how not everybody uses Oxbridge language and everything like that. And I found that again a little annoying actually, because you know, the way that he's kind of positioned it, this was a little while ago before we've had some of the other developments, but he was kind of saying like, oh, this is how everyday people talk. Everyday people don't talk in racist and homophobic language. They don't do that. I mean, I come from a red wall seat in the northwest of England, you know, rougher than rough in some of the parts, and even they would be shocked by some of the language that was used. And I don't know, it seemed a little bit kind of bigotry of low expectations that was coming from Farage earlier on, but he has changed his tune a bit, I have to admit.
Andrew, now you're probably aware of the case.
Totally aware of it.
But basically, I'm going to ask you as a lawyer what you would do. So, Reform are saying that this report, and that this is utterly confirmed, did feature an actor, a guy called Andrew Parker. Andrew Parker specialises, he's a well-spoken actor who specialises in rough, tough, thuggish voices.
Yes.
That's his skill. And that was him using his rough, tough, thuggish voice in those videos.
Yes.
So we haven't had an explanation for that. We've had a statement from Channel 4 standing by the story, saying it was rigorously researched. There's an independent production company who are responsible for the report who have not spoken at all. Given there's an actor in it who for some reason is not using his real voice.
Yes.
As a lawyer, would you take up for Reform's case?
I take any case.
Yeah, I know you. Could you give us a more?
Let me give you a bit of colour.
This is a Justinian for the money case.
Isn't that far too quickly, Andrew?
Let me give you a bit of an insight.
No, but what do you think of the case?
I'll tell you what it is. I was with Nigel 2 days ago at the Trick Awards where he won, whatever it was, presenter. David Bull was on my show today. Of this parish. And I spoke to him exactly about this case, and we were talking about that sort of stuff. And the evidence seems to suggest that absolutely this guy may be an actor. AI might be involved and everything else.
It's 100%. He is an actor. But what has been suggested, or the implication emanating from Channel 4 is just because he's an actor doesn't mean to say he's not a volunteer sympathiser.
No.
However, the subsequent question would be, okay, he's an actor. Well, why is he using his fake voice?
Well, you're absolutely right. And people suggest, and David suggested on my show today that basically AI might have been involved, my pet subject. Yeah. But the real question is, to what extent is Channel 4 involved? Now, that's the real case, because you can't stop anybody saying anything, whatever pubs you might go to, they can say anything about anybody at any stage. It doesn't mean, and Nigel was very quick to call out, and David was very quick to call out, it's abhorrent, we would have nothing to do with it. The question is why that particular person was there and why they said that in their voice, and to what extent, and this is interesting, to what extent Channel 4 knew about it.
Indeed. Right, let's quickly, thank you, Your Worship.
Bills in the post.
Only a matter of time, before you ascend to the bench. Listen, Pete, the other story that we didn't really have time to get your invaluable comments on, Joe Biden, your thoughts on his performance.
Oh my God.
And where we go from here.
Do you know, I completely agree with what Kinsey said. It got awkward and it got uncomfortable to watch. I thought the phrase disaster class, I thought was a great way to define it. Honestly, if you were giving a lesson on how not to do a debate, just play that. It was absolutely shocking from start to finish.
Better than that, I think what Trump should have done, he should have taken Biden's car straight to the White House, because the reality, he stormed it, didn't he?
He did.
I mean, it was an extraordinary moment.
By the way, I've got to say this. So, they have these instant exit polls after the debate. 67% of Americans said that Trump absolutely stormed it.
Did.
Actually, quite right. I want to know about the 33% who thought that Biden won.
Well, they're trying to get rid of the pause button because he froze. I think you're working on that basis.
They actually suffer from a well-known condition called Trump derangement.
Oh God, yeah, but
they really do.
The interesting thing is, you mentioned about Dr. Jill Biden. Doctor, you have to keep stressing that because she's very loud if you don't say it. She is just the level of kind of gaslighting that is coming out of the Biden administration, but it's been going on this issue for some time. The press secretary, apologies, I can't remember her name. Every kind of routine thing that she does is saying like, oh, it's all made up by the media. It's all made up on
these
Twitter.
videos are fake.
Everything is fake. Well, and I'm sorry, we saw it live to the nation and to the world. It is not fake.
There are two things, and as you know, I speak around the world about AI, and when you get deep fakes, which is very different when there's a manipulated video completely, as opposed to cheap fakes, which is basically when you edit a video. And you might remember there was a video, and I talk about it in my programme Fake or Fact, where basically Biden was coming into Ireland and he basically pushed somebody aside because he didn't recognise that it was Rishi Sunak, and he shook hands with somebody else. That was edited, and there's a number of videos out there with Biden where it's been edited to make him look bad. When it's live television, there's no way of escaping. And the reality is, it was not a good moment for him. Yeah. And I understand he was given the equivalent of sort of a debate Viagra to make him a bit more perky. And the reality is, he didn't do very well.
But you know what, Donald Trump, just before the debate, in fact, the last couple of days, he said, we've both got to take a drugs test first. Yeah. He said, I'm willing to do it. Are you, Joe? Joe didn't take take up his kind offer. And guess what? Straight after that debate, the Trump campaign issued a video or a poster saying, sadly, the drugs didn't work. And there is Andrew, great to have you on board.
I love to see you as always.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. You'll be pleased to know after the break, me and Pete Barnes will be discussing a story. We'll discuss all sorts of stories. Didn't get him here for nothing, I promise you. Andrew Eborn, thank you very much. Pete Barnes is still with me. This is My Political Asylum, and you are not going anywhere.